Hello and welcome to part 2 of the Single Sales Principle webcast on digital selling. My name is Johnny Cockcroft and today we're going to be looking at conversion rates and what we can do to manipulate customers into making that all-important inquiry or purchase. Now there are 4 key areas to this process. Firstly, we need to establish what are your outcomes and what you need to achieve. We then need to implement our strategy. We then need to measure our outcomes, and finally we need to tweak our processes to achieve optimum results. Okay, let's look at point 1, your outcomes. Before you embark upon any form of activity, you need to decide as a business exactly what it is that you need to achieve. This will change business by business, and it's dependent entirely upon what you want your customers to do, such as make an inquiry, maybe request a call back, download a white paper, or purchase a product. You need also to identify how much you're willing to pay to acquire each customer. Let me give you a few examples of how we can identify a customer value and how they fit into our customer acquisition or purchase funnel. Let's say that the lifetime value of a customer is 5k. I'm going to call this an IT assumption, it's just my assumption. Let's say that we run a Google AdWords campaign with a budget of £10,000. Our ad is seen by 1,000 people and we receive a 1% click-through rate, i.e. 10 people clicked on the ad and entered onto our purchase funnel. And out of the 10 people that click through, let's say that we receive a 50% conversion rate to sale, i.e. 5 people purchased. So using this matrix, it therefore costs us £2,000 to acquire each new customer with a lifetime value of the customer of £5,000, which gives us a 3k profit per customer. Looking at this from a slightly more optimistic marketing perspective, if we increase the click-through rate to 5%, but still retain a 50% conversion rate, the cost per acquisition goes down to 400, giving us a profit margin per customer of 4,600. Now I appreciate that marketing projections are sometimes too over-optimistic, so let's see what we need to do in order to improve with a more realistic percentage increase. Again, keeping the conversion rate at 50%, but increasing the click-through rate by just 1%, the cost per acquisition is 1,000, giving us a profit of 4,000. So just a 1% increase in the click-through rate has given us an increase in profit of £1,000 per customer. Increasing our conversion rate to 75%, i.e. 7.5% of customers, gives us a cost per acquisition of 1,333, whereas increasing the conversion rate to 100% gives us a cost per acquisition of 1,000 and a profit would be 4,000. So we've got to look at where we need to improve, i.e. do we need to increase our audience, our click-through rate or our conversion rates? My suggestion would be that if you've got a strong conversion rate, it would make more sense to work on improving your click-through rate. And this is how closely monitoring statistical data of how visitors pass through our websites and how and where they enter and drop out of the purchase funnel can make a huge impact on the bottom line. So you may be thinking, okay, but how do I measure this before I've even got the data to analyse? Well, at the outset, you don't. But you've got to research your strategy first and then align it with your targets so you have the benchmarks to measure against as you move forward. But before we look at how to monitor the data, I want to look more closely at the funnel itself and how it's changed in recent years from the traditional marketing funnel to accommodate a shift in consumer behaviour. As the theory goes, a prospect must first become aware that a particular product exists and then they develop an interest in obtaining it. After narrowing the options, the prospect begins to desire a specific type or model or brand and then takes action, i.e. they make a purchase. The rise of the internet, though, has given consumers more options than ever before. Even more importantly, prospects now have the ability to perform many of the funnel tasks on their own. From researching features to talking to product owners, consumer education has largely become a do-it-yourself effort. Prospects now engage with companies at various points in the process, and each comes to the interaction with a different level of knowledge, interest, and level of sophistication. What once was a linear guided process is now a complex, non-linear journey, and the new path to purchase is highly individualized to each consumer. In an article for Forbes, Stephen Noble, who's a senior analyst at Forrester Research, detailed 4 primary phases in a customer's life cycle. Firstly, discover. This phase is similar to the traditional model's aware phase and stresses the continued importance of marketing strategies that let prospects know about your company. In an increasingly overcrowded marketplace, standing out is absolutely crucial. Then there's explore. This phase encompasses all the complex tasks that today's sophisticated consumers perform when shopping for an item, such as extensive internet research, hands-on experimentation such as test driving a car, reading reviews, and many other events may occur during the explore phase. Interestingly though, while the funnel model relied on narrowing options in each step, today's consumers are more likely to expand the list of possibilities during the explore stage, as they learn the pros and cons of the many different solutions that are now available to them. And then there's buy. At this point, prospects are ready to complete a transaction, yet they may still go through a few more iterations before making the purchase. Typical behaviours include looking for coupons or promo codes, or even searching for online sales. But once a retailer is selected, all the phases of the buying experience must be seamless and easy to execute, or the consumer is likely to go elsewhere. And then there's engage. Here, the consumer interacts with the chosen brand in new and vital ways, such as using a product or service, visiting the website for usage ideas, and engaging with others are just a few examples. Then this is the chance for savvy companies to build brand loyalty and word-of-mouth advertising. However, marketing technology company Signal recommended that we ditch the traditional funnel and follow their own 3 C's. And these are: 1. Create a seamless cross-platform experience. And this is where consumers move back and forth between smartphones, computers, and tablets during their buying process journey. We've got to make it as easy as possible for people to return to your website no matter which device they choose. 2. Capture attention. According to Signal, response times of more than 1 second put you at risk of losing prospects. Times measured in milliseconds these days are now ideal and are demanded by consumers. So make sure that your site loads rapidly across all devices and make it worthy of your prospect's time. And 3, calibrate to each customer. One-size-fits-all solutions simply do not work in the modern marketplace. Consumers come to your website from all phases of the purchasing journey. Some are ready to buy, some are browsing for information, some have lots of time to read information, and some are just popping by. So customize content that meets each consumer at the right moment with the right message will vastly improve your chance of making a sale. Interestingly, Antonio Lucio, who's the Chief Brand Officer at Visa, believes the solution is to shift the focus from transaction to relationship. After exploring the customer decision journey, his team developed what they now call a customer engagement journey. In this model, transactions occur in the context of the relationship rather than relationships in the context of the transaction itself. As an example of this, Visa considered a real-life journey of a family traveling from the US to Mexico. They mapped out the entire experience from where the family gets their ideas, where to go, such as TripAdvisor, and how they gather input from our friends, perhaps on Facebook, how they pay for their taxi, maybe cash from an ATM machine, they pay for their hotel via their credit card, and how they share photos of their trip with friends who are back home, maybe via Instagram. Only a few of these situations are opportunities for transactions, but they are all opportunities for relationships. So when you change from decision to engagement, Antonio says, you change the entire model. However, the most successful companies in business today have something in common. This trait doesn't just make them better than the competition, they make them fundamentally different. Where traditional companies push out messages and products, these companies pull consumers in. Instead of treating customers as passive targets, they now treat them as active participants. Like the sun in a solar system, they create a gravitational field that pulls customers into their orbit. They go beyond customer loyalty and build customer gravity. So consider the three top companies who've got orbit strategies: Apple, Google, and Nike. Each has a different approach, but the results are exactly the same. They have customer-initiated touch points between transactions and the creation of value beyond just product. Now, at the core of each orbit strategy is a platform or service which might be called a customer gravity generator. Apple has iTunes and the App Store, Google has its search engine and Gmail, and Nike has Nike Plus and now Nike ID. Orbit brands are organized differently than traditional companies. Traditional brands are like artillery. Their mantra is to aim and fire. They spend their time sighting targets through customer segmentation, calibrating trajectories by optimizing their market mix, and loading ammunition with messages and offers. They fire their weapons with marketing campaigns and celebrate strikes from their sales. Orbit brands, however, are more like scientists building a super collider. Their mantra is to test and to learn. They focus on understanding the physics of their marketplace through customer behavior, and they create an improved technology across all products and platforms that they have available to them. They run experiments for new benefits and services they can offer to their consumers, and they analyze the results for future customer engagement. So to get started with your own orbit strategy, you can start by measuring the strength of your own gravitational field. Customer satisfaction simply isn't enough. You aren't measuring how well you target and transact. You want to measure the attractiveness of your brand, how well you pull customers in, and how well they pull others in with them. A good test of where you are on the push-pull continuum is your social strategy. Are you using social media as a channel for delivering messages to an audience? If so, you may well be stuck in the push mindset. Or are you using social media as a way to listen and a way to learn, to create an authentic relationship and to deliver value beyond the products that you sell? If you fall into the latter category, you're well on the way to becoming an orbiter. Next time, you might build your own customer gravity generators. First, revisit the core mission and purpose of your company. Think about what would help to fulfill that mission and complement the products and services that you sell. There are a number of sources of value here, including data, content, stories, relationships, experiences, and of course identity. There are also lots of options for creating customer orbits. So next time you hear someone talk about targeting customers, ask yourself, what could we do instead to create some gravity to pull people in? So where do we go from here? The funnel and customer decision journey aren't going away. They are definitely useful models and will continue to be helpful in certain contexts. But marketing today requires a new mental cap to navigate a vastly changing landscape. Whichever model you choose, what's most important is that it addresses the multi-dimensional nature of social influence, non-linear pathways to purchase, the role of advocates who aren't yet customers, and the shift of ongoing relationships way beyond individual transactions. Okay, so let's move on to implementing your strategy. To generate awareness of your brand, products or service, you could use paid media, which includes tools such as pay-per-click adverts with Google, display adverts, sponsorship, exhibitions, or even affiliates. Or you could use earned media, such as PR, social media, SEO, or even email marketing. Each avenue that you implement must be flexible enough to engage a prospect at each stage of the different buying stage the consumer is at. We talked in part 1 about consumer intent and where we meet a prospect in their purchase journey when they visit your website, and whether their visit was navigational, informational, or even transactional. The content you display has to meet their exact needs at the right moment with the right touch point, or you'll simply lose them. Let's take email marketing as an example. How well do you understand your database? Is what you send out researched and targeted? To have better conversion rates, you've got to understand what people want. Indeed, when was the last time you asked your customers on your marketing list what their preferences are? The next time you send out an email campaign to offer a free white paper download, or compelling new service update that you offer, or a solution to a problem, trigger an automated email to the people you sent the email out to 48 hours after, just asking them how they benefited from what you offered them. Ask them to update their preferences so you only send relevant information to them in the future. This way you can filter your database by customer preference and send out different emails with different subjects and different content that's specific to their interests. So to improve your click-through rate and conversion rates, send an email out to 300 people and see what response you get. Then send out the same email with a different subject and perhaps a different call to action and see whether or not there's been an improvement in your click-through rate. Whichever email gets the best response, send out the winning formula to the remainder of your database. A slight percentage increase will make all the difference. The same goes for your web pages, and whether users are visiting you organically or via paid search, user experience is everything. If they don't see what they're looking for and they can't engage instantaneously, you will lose them. Make sure you accommodate every need of their buying journey on the page. So in a product or service page, all the key content or options for engagement need to be above the fold, i.e. people don't have to scroll down to view the key information that you're wanting to present. You've already established your need by getting them to your web page in the first place. Now you've got to establish your credibility and prove that your solution works. So make it easy for them to move on to the next step with clear calls to action. These could include buy now, register, maybe request a callback, online chat, request a proposal, or download product information. Each option provides you with an opportunity to engage with your prospect and guide them through your purchase funnel. It's amazing how simply changing the structure of your website pages to a clear and coherent structure will greatly improve your conversion rates. And keep tweaking them until you've landed at a point where you're achieving optimum results. Posting updates on LinkedIn is another example. Research your audience well and target them with specific content. Don't just send out blanket posts to everybody. Filter your research by job type or geographical location and change how you present the information you're sending out using different contexts and languages for each filter that you create. Different age groups in different industries, in different job roles, all react and respond differently to your messages, and that applies across all social media channels. So think about what you're sending out and how you want people to react. And again, a slight percentage increase will have a dramatic impact. Google Analytics offer a tool that helps you to analyze all of your marketing channels working together to create conversions. Known as multi-channel funnels, this tool provides detailed information on the paths your customers took through the buying journey, as well as how long it took them to convert to a paying customer. You can see clearly where people are engaging you, how they're engaging, what they're reacting to, and the differences the tweaks that you're making are having. Monitor your bounce rates closely as well as your exit pages, and tweak the placement of your content and calls to action. Even the page load speed will make a big difference. Think about engagement. Think about your relationship with your customer. Think about how you can increase the gravitational pull towards your brand. Think about how you can increase your click-through rate by presenting relevant content to people in the right place at the right time. Following, mastering and predicting your customer journey will undoubtedly increase your conversion rates. I've mentioned previously, every percentage increase will make all the difference. So when building your new marketing campaigns, all the basic rules for creating an excellent campaign still apply. However, they're no longer enough on their own. Today, you must tailor your marketing campaigns for all devices, demographics and stages of the consumer journey. Follow these steps and you'll have a very happy repeat customer and a very healthy business. Now, I've touched on some big topics today and I can't delve into each one in a single webcast. So if you'd like to discuss any of the points that I've raised, please get in touch. We're always happy to help. So I hope that I've given you some food for thought and I look forward to seeing you again soon.